On this first link, we're going to be combining like terms. Before we combine like terms, though, we're going to simplify any signs. So here we have a positive and a negative. We're going to simplify those. Here we have two negatives. We're going to simplify those. So this turns into negative n minus 4 plus 4n plus 6. Now we can identify our like terms. We have a negative n, a positive 4n. We have a negative 4 and a positive 6. Combine those. In front of this n is an invisible 1. If there's ever no number there, there's an invisible 1. So we have negative 1n. We have 4n. They're unlike signs, so we subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 4 minus 1 is 3. Put our n on there. Bigger number is 4, its sign is positive, so it stays a positive 3n. Let me go over here. We have negative 4 and positive 6. They're unlike, so we subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Sign of the bigger number is positive, so it's plus 2. So 3n plus 2. We can't add these two terms together because this one has an n and this one doesn't, so that's all we can do. Alright, again, let's simplify any signs. Right here we have a positive and a negative, which becomes a negative. So negative 2k minus 4k plus 5. There we go. So negative 2k, negative 4k. We can combine those. Here we have like signs, so we add and keep the original sign. 2 plus 4 is 6. Put the k on the end. The original sign is negative, so it stays negative, and then plus 5 on the end. Good. And let's simplify signs first. Here we have two negatives. Here we have a negative and a positive. Negative and a positive becomes a negative. Two negatives make a positive. Like terms. We have like terms there. 5k minus 2k is 3k, and then plus 1 on the end. That's as simplified as we can make it. On this link here, we need to use the distributive property to distribute the numbers in front of the parentheses. Then we can add like terms, and then we can simplify. So here we have a negative 3 in front. We have to distribute that to everything inside the parentheses there. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 3 times 4k is 12k. Same thing here with the 7. We have to distribute it. 7 times 2 is 14, so plus 14k. A positive 7 and a negative 1 makes a negative 7. Now we can see our like terms. We have negative 12k and 14k. We have negative 6 and negative 7. So negative 12k and 14k, they're unlike. We subtract. 14 minus 12 is 2. Keep the sign of the bigger number. Bigger number is positive, so it stays positive. Then we have negative 6, negative 7. Those are like signs. They're both negative, so we add them, which is 13. Keep the original sign, which is negative. That's all we can do. 2k minus 13. So it's going to be our first one right there. Okay, same process. Distribute. Add like terms. Now there's no number in front of the parentheses here. If there's no number, again, there's an invisible 1. Because it can't be a 0, because then all that would go away. And it's nothing other than 1, because there's no number there. So the only thing it can be is 1. So we're going to distribute a negative 1 to that second set of parentheses. Okay? So 2 times negative 14 is negative 28. 2 times r is 2r. We'll put the 2 in there. Negative 1 times negative 3r is a positive 3r. Two negatives make a positive. Negative 1 times negative 5, again 2 negatives, make a positive, makes plus 5. Now we can figure out our like terms, 2r and 3r, and then negative 28 and positive 5. So 2r and 3r, they're both positive, makes 5r, and it stays positive. Negative 28 and positive 5, unlike a negative and a positive, they're unlike, so we subtract 28 minus 5 is 23. Keep the sign of the bigger number, which is negative, so it becomes a negative 5r minus 23. That's our first one right there. And one more. This time we only have one set of parentheses. So the first 3n just stays how it is. We have to distribute the 2 to the second parentheses. So we have 3n, 2, a positive 2 and a negative 2 makes a negative 4. So it's negative 4n. A positive 2 and a negative 1 makes a negative 2. Positive and a negative, when you multiply, makes a negative. Now we have like terms, 3n, negative 4n. They're unlike. This one's positive, this one's negative, so they're unlike. You subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1. Keep the sign of the bigger number, which is negative. So it's negative 1n, or you could just write negative n. I like this better because it's less writing. Then the 2's by itself can't be combined with anything else. So we have negative n minus 2. So third one. Right, here we're using the distributive property in order to factor. So this is where we have to find the greatest common factor, write it in front of the parentheses, and then divide it out. So in front of the parentheses, we're going to put our greatest common factor. Again, if we're not sure, we can list out our multiple, or our factors. 1 goes into 8, 8 times. 2 goes into 8, 4 times. 3 doesn't go into 8, so that's all we have for factors. 1 goes into 20, 20 times. 2 goes into 20, 10 times. 3 doesn't go in. 4 goes into 20, 5 times. So the biggest number in both factor rows is 4. So that's the number that goes in front of our parentheses, is the 4. Then we divide both terms by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Include the x. Then 20 divided by 4 is 5. And that's our answer. Good. Okay, we have 21 and 35. We need to find the greatest common factor. Maybe you can do this just in your head without making the chart or listing the factors, that's fine. But if you can't, list them out. 1 goes into 21 times. 2 doesn't go into 21. 3 goes into 21 7 times. 4 doesn't go in, 5 doesn't, and 6 doesn't. So that's it. 1 goes into 35 times. 2 does not go into 35. 3 does not go into 35. 5 goes into 35 7 times. So the biggest number in both is 7. So that's our greatest common factor. Goes in front of our parentheses. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So it's 3e. 35 divided by 7 is 5. So this whole expression is our answer. Alright, here we need to simplify, distribute, add like terms, and then figure out which one of these would give us the same answer. Okay, so we have a 3 in front of the parentheses. We need to distribute that first. 3 times a negative 2a is negative 6a. 3 times a negative 4 is negative 12 plus 3a. Then we have some like terms, negative 6 and 3. They're unlike, so we subtract. 6 minus 3 is 3, so it's 3a. Keep the sign of the bigger number. Bigger number is negative, so it's negative 3a. Then we have the 12 on the end, that sticks with it, okay? So now over here, we have some like terms that we can add together there as well. And actually this one matches the step we had right there exactly. So that one would match because it would simplify to the same thing. This one down here, the signs are wrong. They should both be negative. So it's just the first one. Okay, again, we need to distribute because we have a number in front of parentheses. So a -5 times 2 would be -10. Don't forget the F. -5 times a -3. Two negatives make a positive. So that becomes positive 15. And then we still have that -F in front. Now we have some like terms. A -1F, a -10F. They're like signs, so we would add them. 10 and 1 makes 11F. Keep the original sign. It's a -11, and then plus 15. So it does not match the first one because it's only a 3. It does match the second one. That is our answer. Okay, and here we don't have to distribute, but we do have some like terms. -6n and positive 4n. Unlike signs, so we subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Keep the sign of the bigger number. It's negative, so it's -2. Oh, we have some signs to simplify here. Positive and a negative makes a negative, so that's just -12. Okay, now to figure out which one of these match, we actually need to do some simplifying here also. So we do have parentheses here. We'll distribute the 4. 4 times n is just 4n. 4 times -3 is -12. And then the -6n on the end. We have some like terms, 4n and -6n. Unlike signs, so we subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Don't forget the n. Keep the sign of the bigger number. 6 is bigger, it's negative, so it's a -2n. Then we have our -12 there. So those two match. So it would be the first one. And then the second one we need to distribute as well. We're going to do 2 times 2. 2 times -6. 2 times 2 is 4, so it becomes 4n. 2 times a -6 is -12. So that does not match our other two. So it's just the first one.